Well, good afternoon, cardiac types. I haven't had much in the way of people telling me things aren't working this week, which I can't tell you what a relief that is. Um, if people aren't telling you that things, well, if everybody's telling you that things working great, it's a smashing relief to you. It's terrible the idea that you're letting the side down and bits of your course have fallen off. Um, so I'm kind of relieved about that. So what have I got this week? What have I got? Well, right, I'm guessing things are working okay because I'll tell you, for the rest of the week, I've spent my time under the bonnet of other courses trying to fiddle things out and get things going again. And it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of enjoyable as well in a way, because it's new, innit? It's new and inventive. But one of our colleagues here, Nicola, has just got back from Amsterdam. So I see. I hope you had a good time over there. It should have still been pretty warm. I love Amsterdam, absolutely love it. And I don't suppose you went past any of the coffee shops, did you, Nick? In which case you'll be feeling all sharp. And whereas if you had been to any of them coffee shops, who knows what you'd have been like now. But anyway, hope you had a good time over there. Right, let's get down to business. The discussion boards. Louise tells me that women are better than men at dealing with stress. Not even sure what you mean by stress, but let's go with it. Well, one of the reasons why I think that men get more heart failure than women is that men tend to get sicker with their hearts earlier than women do, and the incidence of cardiac disease among men, men die much earlier than women of all sorts of cardiac disease. Therefore, if fellas are losing bits of their myocardium, then it's only to be expected that they're going to start to develop the signs and symptoms of heart failure early. As to your other question, Louise, I have no view about the role of the cardiac specialist nurses, really. Although I do think this, presumably, if these people are very highly skilled and have come from a very acute background and know their business inside out the way most cardiac specialist nurses I know do, perhaps they're better used when there's something that can be done for the person. When you get into the palliative care end, then you're really recognising the fact that you've run out of options, haven't you? And that really serious attempts at proper treatment have come to an end, and we're making the person, we're regarding the medicines list in terms of what can be taken off rather than what we can add in. Although I suppose from another perspective, given the fact that if you've had 3 or 4 MIs, that muscle isn't coming back. From another perspective, it's almost possible to say, well, if you are working with patients who've had a number of MIs and are now in heart failure, you're already in the palliative care stage. I mean, you might be optimising their treatment to control their symptoms, but really there's no sense in which you're curing this person anymore. You're always managing the incline down, aren't you? That's the thing. So in that sense, the role of the clinical nurse specialist is kind of always going to be palliative care to an extent or other. I've mentioned that. And so Ellie pulls my beard on the same subject, men versus women. And it is often said, isn't it? It is often said when you're thinking about why it is that women don't get heart disease in the same sort of numbers as men. It's often said that the reason for this is that women's reproductive hormones protect them, and that whatever it is about their reproductive hormones, one way or another, these people do not get atherosclerosis the same way as their male counterparts, and that's the solution to that conundrum of why fellas get heart disease earlier and worse than women. Now, Louise, of course, she wants to point the finger at men and say it's all their own fault because they don't deal with stress well. Well, okay, fair enough. Let's be a chap about this and take it on the chin. But the interesting thing for me is that you've got more chance of dying if you're a Russian woman than if you're a French man. So how does that line up with the protective reproductive hormones theory, do you think? You know, if you're a Scottish woman, you've got more chance of dying of heart disease than if you're a French man from the south of the country. You would think, wouldn't you, that if you're a woman, protective hormones will protect you and it would wallop the fella. Or the fella in the south of France can't deal with stress, so he'd be up there with the Scottish woman, you'd think. That's not the way it works for some reason. I'm not putting forward that I've got a solution to all of this. It just strikes me as being absorbingly interesting. There's something else I'm going to put up for you today. I was only thinking about this the other day. I've got a really interesting paper on controlling people's sodium who've got heart failure, and I'm only going to put it up just to mess with your heads. So, there you are. Anyway, anything more to say? No, nobody's mentioned articles yet. Nobody's mentioned getting their essay ready. Don't leave it too late. I'm rather hoping that there's a couple of you with their essays half finished, because there's no benefit to putting this off. Do not start crying to me on the day of submission telling me that your computer's broken down. Can I please have an extension? See this face? Yeah, if you're on the phone to me asking for an extension because of that, because you've left it till the last minute, that's the face you'll be getting at the other end of the phone. So I'll put this paper up, tell me what you think about it, and unless I hear from you in other directions, which I hope I don't, I shall see you on the discussion boards next week.